Alhamdulillah, 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 Rabbil Alameen. We thank Allah who has made it possible for us to gather here this Sunday. Pray our purpose of being here will be accomplished at the end of the day. And we pray we'll get back home, we'll meet our home better than the way we left it. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Maliki yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdina siratal mustaqim. Ihdina siratal mustaqim. Ihdina siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta alayhim. غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. Amen.
MashaAllah, thank you for that beautiful dua.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Sisters and brothers in Islam, I welcome you to yet another event of marriage counseling. It is indeed a great pleasure to be gathered here to conduct another crucial discourse on pre-wedding counseling. Alhamdulillah, Allah has made it possible for all of us to gather here today to participate in this seminar titled Marriage, Prepare, Embrace, and Enrich. Of course, this is another issue of importance amongst the endless issues concerning modern marriages. And besides this, it is lawful for you. I'm now reading from the verse of the Quran. And besides, it is lawful for you to marry other women if you pay them their dowry, maintain chastity, and do not commit indecency. So those women whom you marry, an appointed time, you must give them the agreed upon dowries. There is no harm if you reach an understanding among yourselves about the dowry. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is all-knowing and all-wise. Surah 4 verse 24. Marriage cannot be consummated without a dowry. Marriage should not be built with indecent behaviors before nikah. Intimacy should be reserved for the wedding night thrills. The bride and groom should embrace each other and have faith in each other as partners. They should pray and ask Allah to enrich them with a successful marriage. To discuss further today are our able scholar, Ustaz Abdul Fattah, founder, CEO, Baynakum Family Counseling Center, and of course our coaches and counselors here present. This is wishing everyone here will benefit from this lecture, and for the yet to marry will have an insight into premarital counseling. I open the floor for our scholars to commence the discussion on the theme of this event.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Wassalatu wassalam ala ashrafil mursaleen. We are most grateful to Almighty Allah who has given us this opportunity. I want to appreciate the Honorable Senator here with us. May Almighty Allah continue to strengthen him, and may Almighty Allah continue to bless him and his family and his household and his constituency and the generality of Federal Republic of Nigeria. May Almighty Allah have mercy on us all and continue to answer our prayers and continue to increase us in blessing. The topic or the theme for today is not for me to be the one that will discuss it at length like that, because we have many coaches in the house, and look at that, my sister there, Kudrat Sanusi. She is a very big coach. Then we also have Aja Falmata, my own very, very close sister. All of you here have got a lot to say. And you see, some of you spoke before we started, that my sister there spoke in Pidgin English, and that my mentee there also spoke in Hausa. And you are the one that wanted to speak in Arabic, but there was no time, so you couldn't speak much. And then Hajia is here. She is a very well experienced coach. Don't get it twisted. She had been a coach and a counselor long before she did this program with Baynakum. That of Baynakum is just like icing on the cake. So the experience and the knowledge is there. But you see, we are all coming together so that we can each channel or chart a course for ourselves. To say, okay, you handle this area, you handle that area. They call it division of labor, where everybody hold on to one side or the other, so that the ummah generally we can begin to move on. This topic of marriageology, it is incidentally is not taught in schools. Everybody went to school in one form or the other, thinking that they are supposed to know it all. By the time it is time for somebody to get married, you get to see that 80% of those things you learned in school may not be directly related to the experiences you are going to be having in marriage. So sometimes it is not taught. Sometimes people assume that you should know. And sometimes some people spend the whole of their marital life not knowing the right thing from the wrong. Everybody believes everybody should learn on the job. But marriage is not something that you learn on the job. Let me give you an example. If a person wants to drive, you want to learn how to drive. Some people go to driving school, right? And from driving school, some people will just learn how to start the car from the garage. And then they learn how to park the car. And then they drive down the street. And from there, they think they already know how to drive. So we see all sorts of people driving in the street. But there's one thing that's very fundamental. They insist that you have to have a driver's license for doing that. Why does a person need driver's license? You need driver's license to be a way of attesting to the fact that you now know how to drive. Not just knowing how to drive, the road signs, the road marks, you know how to respect the traffics and indicators, and you know when to use what and what with regards to the car itself and to the road as it is, and your respect for other road users. Either they are driving or they are not driving. It's a whole lot of complicated knowledge and experience. Stability of your mind is also part of it. And the fact that you don't have criminal cases is also important. Psychological stability is a very important aspect, though people don't emphasize it that much. People who are prone to getting angry all of a sudden, sometimes in some authorities, they will delay issuing them driver's license until they get a clearance from a psychiatric doctor that will say, yes, this person can now manage his or her own anger. It is a very complex arrangement before a person can get a driver's license. And you know why you must get this driver's license also? So that you will not be killing people. So that people will not be dying in the street. So that there will be no road accident. It is number one fear of what you are going to do to others. And then the fear of what you are going to do to yourself. As a driver, if you don't have or you are not qualified to have a driver's license, that is for driving and for using the road. What about marriage that is even as serious as driving in the road or on the road? People going into marriage, don't you think they also need marriage license? Because sometimes marriage is like a journey. Getting into marriage is like entering into a car. You don't know how to drive, you don't have a map, you don't know where you are going, and you don't know the road signs. Tell me how the person arrived at their destination. So if we take it very serious, that person should obtain a driver's license before they can use the road. I think it's also important that people should have marriage license before they are allowed to marry. Some people are just not caught for marriage. They want the bill. Don't worry, we have capable hands that can do that. Yes, it's a serious matter. Thank you. Yes, you see, some people are not meant for marriage. Some people are not caught for marriage. It's the society that imposes marriage on some people. There are some men, forgive me for saying this, I'm generalizing, even by saying some men. There are some men that are not marriage materials. know how to remain married, and they don't know how to keep a marriage. And some, because of their temperament, they are not even supposed to get married. If they are going to get married, they shouldn't get married to a normal human being. Perhaps they should marry somebody who is just like them. Although that's going to make it to be worse. Somebody who is not normal, you ask them to marry another person that's not normal. What's going to happen? Sense confusion. Expired poison and fresh poison, which one is more dangerous? Expired poison and a fresh poison, which one is more deadly? Fresh. Okay. A person that is not normal, let me put it that way, marrying somebody that is normal or marrying someone that's abnormal, which one of them is more dangerous? Now, abnormal person marrying an abnormal person, or abnormal person marrying a normal person, which one is more dangerous? Abnormal and abnormal. Won't they just be doing the abnormality to themselves? This one will break bottle, this one will bring knife. This one brings screwdriver, this one brings scissors. Maybe somewhere along the line, because this one doesn't want to be killed by this one, maybe they will calm down. Only Allah knows. But the thing is, don't you see, what brings stadium, what brings envy, what brings boredom to some marriages is because they don't have any clear cut of what they want to do. At the point of marriage, some people lose their identity. They don't even know who they are anymore. They are married, but their boat is standing still. They are neither moving forward nor going backwards. And most of the marriage, they don't even have any goal in mind. They know that they are supposed to do bedroom things and produce children. But apart from that, they don't know any other thing that marriage is supposed to bring. The rest of mind, the love and affection, the mutual growth of each of them, the mutual thriving, not just surviving, thriving, then achieving of transcendence, of growth in Iman and closeness to Allah, expression of love and affection for the purpose of worship of Allah. If these couples don't know any of these things, they say if you don't know where you are going, any road will lead there. So this concept of marriageology, which I believe Hajia is going to promulgate from now on as a concept in marital counseling, is a situation or it's a concept where every other aspect of learning and knowledge before people go into marriage, she's going to be teaching them all of these. The intrigues, the surprises, the disappointments, the overwhelming things, the anxieties, and sometimes some depressions that come along with marriage, coupled with the joy, the happiness, the companionship, the grace, the blessings of Allah that come along with marriage. People need to understand the mixture of all of these things in their lives and their marriages. There cannot be happiness if you have never experienced sadness. There cannot be appreciation if you have not been disappointed. The couples will begin to learn the dark and shade, the black and white of marriage, and they'll be able to negotiate and look at what are we experiencing now or what we need to experience. They will know that there are three people in that marriage, the husband and the wife and the marriage itself. Because marriage itself is a living being. You can make it to live and you can also kill it. Who can tell me the mortuary for marriages? Where they kill marriages and then they take it to mortuary. The moment they collect the divorce paper, that is the mortuary attestation now that your marriage has been buried here. They will keep it in a file in Alkali's place if that is where they went to go and do it. And some divorces are so messy to the extent that it's like they even cremated the marriage itself. Instead of just burning, they burnt it and then they now put the ashes there. Marriages are living beings. If you feed it, it will do well. And every living being can fall sick. Marriages can fall sick. When it is sick, you have to identify, is it fever? Is it cough? Is it COVID-19 that's affecting the marriage? Yes, you have to know what disease is wrong with this marriage. Once you identify what is wrong with the marriage, then you look for how to treat it. The husband and wife are the doctors. The husband is the doctor, the wife is the nurse. The both of them have the responsibility of looking after that marriage. Anything you leave unattended to will die. Anything you leave as it is, it will grow old and to die young. Unless you cultivate it, unless you package it, unless you give it vitamins, unless you inject certain things that will make it to do well. You inject love, you inject mercy, you inject finances sometimes, you inject appreciation, you inject encouragement, you inject expressions, positive expressions. These are the things that will make a marriage to thrive and to survive. And lastly, you know how Allah described marriage? Allah described marriage as mithaqun ghaliza, a very strong covenant. In other words, marriage is such an amana. When two people come together, they have entered into an amana with marriage institution itself. So much so that every child that they give birth to within that union is for that marriage. So let people try and understand the gravity of marriage. Marriageology is something that we need to learn, we need to understand, we need to even institutionalize it, so much so that nobody goes into marriage without learning all of these things, learning the pitfalls, learning the pitholes, learning the hitches, learning the roadblocks, and learning everything that may come about in marriage beforehand, so that if there's this problem, this is what you should do. If this one comes up, this is what you do. And thirdly, some things will come up that you have never even prepared for. So marriageology is a concept that looks into all of the things that young couples need to understand before they go into marriage. And so that from time to time, whenever any of these things come their way, they already learned and they're already prepared for it. Marriage institution is the only time where people get certificates without any schooling. They say they give them marriage certificate. We have to turn that around now. Let them do the schooling so that at the day of their wedding, when they are given the certificate, it will have meaning. The meaning of that is you now have a license to call yourself Mr. Husband. Or you have a license to call yourself Madam of the house. And that license, is it renewable? We have to let people understand. Do you need some retraining? We have to let people understand. To say that you have this paper that's saying you are married doesn't mean that you will not be doing training and retraining from time to time. Every time, every day, we are being promoted. When there's problem and trial in marriage, it's like examination. You have to pass. When you pass, you train and you retrain. So the Prophet ﷺ said you should seek knowledge from the cradle to the grave. Knowledge within marriage is not left out of it. So everybody should keep learning. Everybody should keep understanding. So her own marriageology is not only going to be before marriage. There will be training and retraining, which of course many of you other coaches, you are already taking care of that. But as the entering point, entry qualification, what do they call it when you want to enter school? Entry requirements. Yes, entry requirements, entry qualification, previous experiences. What other thing? If you want to get a job, some of the things they will ask you. Experiences. What can you do? What have you done? Where have you been? What has ever happened to you? How will you handle this situation? Like there was a school where they wanted to employ some teachers, and there's one person that scored very high in the written exam. In the oral, the person was very good also. But the chairman of the interview panel now asked one question that almost spoiled the whole thing. That one said, as a very good teacher, you'll be teaching in primary school. You are teaching one day and one of your children suddenly fell down and collapsed. What are you going to do? The teacher said, I'm going to run out. I'm going to run out and call for help. It's supposed to make sense, but it didn't make sense to the interviewers. He said, before you run out and come back, the child will have died. Won't you even find out what made the child to fall down first? And see if it's something you can rescue? And they asked, if the child is convulsing, what do you do? She said she didn't know. Now, are you going to give job to that person again? Somebody who knows everything about how to teach, but doesn't know how to rescue a human life. A child is convulsing, and you say you run out to go and look for help. Let me tell you another reason why it is not just what you read in school and Google that can make marriages to work. There is this person who went to buy fuel, and he saw that the fuel attendant quickly ran inside to where the manager was and came out. When they came out, they talked, and then the manager went back to his office and they sacked the man. They sacked the attendant. So he now got down from his car where he parked observing. He came closer to come and ask what exactly has been going on. Because when this fuel attendant came out from the manager's office, he held his head like this and he was like, maybe crying. Some other colleagues were around him saying sorry to him. So he was he became curious, what could have happened here? So, do you know what they told him? They said this fuel attendant saw that the person that bought fuel last smoked cigarettes and threw the remaining down within the filling station. And he drove away. So the fuel attendant quickly ran inside to report to the manager what had happened. The manager came out, saw the cigarette butt, quickly poured sand on it, and he went back to his office to write a sack letter for that fuel attendant. And the fuel attendant was looking so sorry, I don't know what I have done. Have I done anything wrong? All of you, did he do anything wrong? What did he do wrong? Maybe they told him that, look, you have to, and before you do anything in this company, you must take clearance. Before you take any decision, you must report to the manager. Maybe that's what they told him, right? He was simply following the rules. But following the rules costed him his job. Instead of him to have quenched the thing first, the manager's argument was, before you came in to call me, the whole filling station will have got fire. So it is not just what you read and what you learn when it comes to marriage. There are certain things that you need to know how to do and what to do about it. And that is what marriageology is going to teach you more. Not go and read Sahih Buhari, go and read Sahih Muslim, go and read Hadith book, go and read book of this one, Tafsir of Qurtubi. You can read all of those ones, but none of these readings will be enough to teach you well enough about your own peculiar situation in your own unique marriage. So marriageology is to prepare you for the unexpected. And your own solution may not be the same as another person's solution. And then your own reasoning and wisdom may have to take some more pragmatic step than for you to begin to look for those that are going to give you fatwa about what you are supposed to do. May Allah make it easy for us. Sorry I've taken much of your time, but I hope you have a broad view of what marriageology is all about now. So Hajia is, let me say, is the epitome of that. It is her baby, and she's going to nurse it to fruition. So for those who have not been trained yet in counseling, if you want to go into that area, you now have an expert now. So that whatever training is going to be organized for those who want to go into premarital, full-time, you need to liaise with her and join forces together to see how you can continue to promote this aspect of marital counseling as coaches and as counselors and as advisors and as Muslim scholars. May Almighty Allah make it easy for all of us, and may Allah guide us right in all we do. I hope I've not taken much of your time, so let me leave it here so that you can have your lives back. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum. Good morning, brothers and sisters. You are welcome to this seminar. We are here today to discuss about marriage in Islam. To discuss about marriage in Islam. Marriage is a legal contract between a man and a woman. it is very, very important for Muslims to how to prepare for marriage. Okay, thank you so much. We are discussing about how to prepare for marriage. Before you go into marriage, you need to prepare yourselves. We discovered that later, maybe about some years back, we don't know anything about marriage counselors in Islam. I think it's a new thing, and we thank God. You can see how many of us that are here now. Why we came up for this course is because we want to enrich ourselves. We don't want to jump into marriage without being prepared for it. So there are so many things you have to go into before you go for this marriage. Let me talk about communication. Communication in marriage is very, very important. It's very vital. The way I talk, I communicate, might be different from the way my partner communicates. We need to, understand ourselves so that when we come together, if I communicate with him, he will know where I'm heading to. And when he also communicates with me, I will know where he's heading to. So we can only do this thing if we seek for the help of counselors who will tell us whether what we have in us is good for us, that will make us to have a perfect home. So as husband and wife, both man and woman need the counseling. So it is a way to prepare ourselves so that our marriage will last for us. Thank you so much.
I'm going to talk about the spiritual aspect of preparation. Before we go into marriage, it's very important that we prepare spiritually. That is the first step. We have to submit our affairs to Almighty Allah. You find counsel with Allah by doing istihara and then engage in serious prayers, because marriage is not a child's play. So we need to be spiritually sound. We need to ask Allah to guide us. Before anything, you ask Allah, is this marriage going to be the best for me? If it's not the best for me, dissolve it for me. I remember a while ago, a younger sister of mine was to get married. So she's a young girl, just like she's 25, and she wanted to get married to a person that has a wife. We are like, oh, we don't know about this. None of us is married, though we are not from a polygamous home, and we are not used to the system. So we are all worried. But she wants this marriage. We told her, okay, nobody is going to choose for you. You want to marry this person, all right. But we have to seek for Allah's counsels. So we all went into prayer. We asked Allah, if this marriage is not going to go well, it's going to cause problem to this family, Allah should dissolve it. Should never allow it to happen. And alhamdulillah, before you know it, we don't know what happened. Everything just stopped there. Even though after the engagement, everything just stopped there, and alhamdulillah, she's married to another person that everything is going well. So marriage, we have to be spiritually sound. We have to ask Allah if this marriage is going to be okay with us. If it's not, it's better it stops before we go into it. Because not something you just pop your neck into and come out. So we have to ask for Allah's counsel. So I feel to prepare for marriage spiritually is very important. Assalamu alaikum.
The parents choose a spouse for their children. You don't have a say. Is any man they give you to marry, that is whom you are to marry.
Are supposed to be allowed to choose whomever they wish to stay with in marriage. Because if there is no love, the marriage will not work. So they have to have time to courtship, but courtship should not last long. It should be something that is very precise, because we are talking about marriage. So when they realize that they are compatible to each other, they should be allowed to get married, but not for their parents to choose partners for them. In Islam, there is nothing like forced marriage. Thank you.
warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. How to prepare for marriage? You should know the purpose of marriage. What is your purpose to marry? Understand yourself, your spouse. What are the expectations? When you know all that, find it easy, inshallah.
I'm going to ask a very practical question since they are experts in the house. For a scenario like this, and this is that company that's not financially with the brother because the brother can't cook because he comes from a home full of people who are working. And the brother is actually working, he has a good work, but he can't cope up with flying her to Dubai and what have you. And this brought an issue between them. So how do we solve this issue? Do we say marriage, in this case, is proportional to the finance or not? Or do we say they should quit and go their different way after being married?
I think the question is, you got married to a dude and you want to go to Dubai and he can afford it, basically. Isn't that the question? Okay. In Islam, if you want to marry for 4 reasons. For wealth, status, beauty, or for deen. If you marry a man who obviously cannot take you to Dubai, you didn't do your homework well. So there is no reason to go and give people heart attack. If you know you want to marry a man who can take you to Dubai, you know where you find them. So please don't go and marry a man who cannot afford it and you won't let the guy. Does that answer your question? And if you do find yourself in such a position, what do? You see, I think the problem we have is communication, just like she said. Sit her down. Sis, I can't afford it. You know. You know my salary. You can bring the pay slip. This is what I earn. You are from a wealthy home. I know. I took myself there, right? But I thought you could see that this is what I can afford. And you are willing to come down to my own status. So can we do this? If she loves you, believe me, that would not be a problem. When her family are going, they want to take her along, they even take you along too, who knows? But if she really wants to be with you, she will live according to your means. So it all comes down to communication.
I think one important thing I've always known and have in mind is forgiveness. As a woman, as a man, you want to go into marriage, you must learn how to forgive. It's very, very important. You see so many cases of wives stabbing their husband, it's lack of forgiveness. Fine, there are some things a man will do to you that you can't control it again. You understand? But with prayer and the ability to forgive, I think the family will go a very long way. Marriage is a contract thing that is forever. So a situation whereby you don't know how to forgive, I don't think there's any essence for you going into marriage. Because you see a lot. These are two people who are coming together to stay together. So definitely you see things that will provoke you that you won't even go out of the marriage. But the ability to forgive, it kills so many negative emotions in marriage. Thank you. I think that's the only thing I have to say.
But there is one aspect of marriage I want them to emphasize more. Maybe by informing other mosques, malams that used to maybe contract these marriages, issue of blood test. It's very important. You know, like the genotype. Genotype is a very simple thing we are seeing, but it means a lot. Because if we as parents have gone through stress of having C-class, these are things you can avoid. We should encourage our children to get tested before any marriage. Actually, there is issue of love, yes, and you love each other, you got married, and at the end of the day, you didn't enjoy the marriage. I don't know.
Most of the children getting married don't go for this test, but I think it is important. Mostly in our villages, when you say you should go for a test, that could be the beginning of quarrel between the two parents, whether you don't trust their daughter or you don't trust their son. But I think it's very important we do this test. Madam, we thank you very much for that observation, and I think the Baynakum should be able to include that. And I think also in my own suggestion too, you should include men like us for training, so that we can learn and continue to be patient with our wives and be able to know how to treat them better. So thank you very much. Alhamdulillah.
To enrich your marriage, you should have it at the back of your mind that marriage is a work in progress. Set yourself up for success in your marriages. Marriages have issues most of the time because people go into it while they are not ready. They are not ready to make it work. There is always the good, the bad, and the ugly side. So, as much as you take your life serious and you want to enjoy your marriage, you should work at making it work.
Challenge of test and genotype. But I think all of this can be avoided if initially, before they go into marriage, they do premarital counseling. Because in premarital counseling, you're told of all of this. You go through tests. You do the test for HIV, genotype, and all of this. And before the marriage, if you know of this, that you're not compatible as regards genotype, of course the marriage cannot go ahead. So we can avoid that if we encourage our children to go for premarital counseling before marriage. Then I want to, how do you enrich your marriage? Yeah, marriage is a union between a man and a woman. And I think the way we can enrich our marriage is by showing empathy to our spouses. As empathy binds a husband and a wife, empathy is a strong bond. Empathy is kindness. Even the prophet encourages us to be empathetic. He said, the best among you are those who are best in character. And the person who is most virtuous is the person who is virtuous to his wife. So if we tend to show empathy to our spouses, I'm sure our marriage will not have any hitches, it will not have glitches, it will not have challenges. So we should try as much as possible to be empathetic, not only to our spouses, but to those around us.
You have what you have and you marry according to what you have.
Okay.
If you are a woman and you want to be going to Dubai, you look for people who can take you to Dubai. The question is, must you look for people who can take you to Dubai? Can't you take yourself to Dubai? If you want to go to Dubai, start doing things that will make you take yourself to Dubai and even take your husband to Dubai. So how much money, if you want to get married, the issue of how much money, I think the pendulum swings more to the side of the husband, because in Islam, it's the husband that is supposed to take care of the wife. So the man has to be ready to, he should know that he can afford to take a wife. If he can't afford to take a wife, he should work harder. I know of somebody, a very close person to me, Lagos, who got married and married somebody else. They are living in one-room apartment. Unfortunately, got somebody pregnant and brought that woman into the one-room apartment. Of course, that marriage did not last very long, you know. So those are the sort of things we should guide against. You, as I said before, you know what you have. You marry according to what you have. You live within your means. You have to learn to live within your means. It's for the men to learn to live within their means. For the women who aspire, they should aspire for themselves to earn the material things they want for themselves and not put the burden on the husband. So you live within what your husband can afford.
And please, if you know you want to marry, don't pretend. Some will carry their gas car. They will borrow Babariga and go and look for good wristwatches and shoes. And pursuing the woman that you know your means cannot take care of. Please, let the woman know the kind of person you are. The family background, we are managing. Please, can you manage with me? I love you. But you come with pretense. You will meet the woman, she no go agree. So please, cut your coat according to your size.
So the question I want to ask is, how much truth should the men tell the ladies before they can marry them?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Please, our foundation should be on the truth. Any house you intend to build, and you started with something that is not required to build a house, the correct stone, the granite, the gravel, to make your foundation firm.
I'm sorry, the building is likely to collapse. And we hope to marry, and we want our marriage to be lifetime. So we should not lie. 100% truth.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim wa salatu wa salam ala ashraf al-Mursaleen Muhammad al-Amin wa alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Yes, how to enrich your marriage. And the question that was the young man asked about the person who wants to go to Dubai or the person who wants to go to America. Within the few experience I had about counseling couples and stuff, I have discovered one thing that is a secret in marriage. If you perfect it, you perfect your marriage. And that thing is communication. Whatever we are saying now is all breakdown of communication. I had a similar case that came to me about a woman always complaining that the husband is not spending on her. After I did a little bit of psyching the woman, I discovered the secret was she is afraid that if we allow this man out of her sight, he'll start thinking of marrying another woman. That is what many women think. They don't want you to have money, because if you have extra money, you start thinking of marrying a second wife. So it was very simple. You want this problem solved, just like the sister said, show her your payroll, and said, you make the budget for the house. The problem was solved. This is how much we are worth, this is how much I earn, and this is what we... Before that month ends, she was the one that said, oh, you mean we can't go anywhere? But if the man kept keeping the secret to himself, making the woman feel that there is money where there is no money, this is where the problem is. So in marriages, communication is the thing. And I always tell the young ladies that any man cannot hold a successful communication with for 30 minutes, don't think of marrying them. Take it from me. Somebody you cannot sit and communicate with and talk with, and you feel you're a human being, within 30 minutes is not your friend, and he would be your friend. Why? Even sometimes we don't do intercultural marriages. Not because Yoruba doesn't like the Hausa or Hausa doesn't like an Igbo. Beauty is beauty, no matter where it is coming from. Beauty doesn't have a nationality. You see a beautiful woman, but why are the barriers? It's because of that communication. Because a Hausa knows that if I marry an Igbo, there's a big gap, a difference in culture. We will understand ourselves. It's not because I don't love her as a woman. So you can see that the real thing here is communication. So it's for us to sit down and perfect how we talk to ourselves. Recently, a marriage was almost dissolving, almost at the edge of dissolving, because there was a breakdown in communication. Because what the woman was doing, she was an innocent woman for they are married for like, and then something happened. Now, when the man was narrating the story, I couldn't get what was the woman's problem. She was not part of the problem. But I now said, why are you having a problem with the woman? She said, her reaction was too calm. It was too calm, showing that she's not innocent. Are you getting it now? Another question, for the past 7 years you've been with her, is she a quarrelsome person? No. Has she been doing anything? So why now? Now that she's calm, why is her calmness becoming a problem?
He's already holding hands behind his back, or the woman is already holding knife behind his back. Where are we going to? There is one word my grandmother used to tell us. He said, you say, I'm not educated. All of you say, I don't open. Son, enter una eye, because una eye too.
Topic: marriage, prepare, embrace, and enrich. When I saw the topic, from my own point of view as a counselor, I feel the whole, marriage is a spiritual and physical journey. The spiritual aspect of it, we are so lucky we are blessed with the Quran and the Hadith. Then what about the physical aspect of it? To me, we should start from parenting. I told my daughter this morning, I said, this topic is for you. In part of my preparing her to get married, she has to come and listen to all this. So it has to be from the parent. We have to start from parenting. And like the medical aspect of it, you don't have to wait on the boy or the girl is grown up to the age. At whatever age, genotype never changes.
take them to this test and let them have it at the back of them, because you even need that to educate them. If she doesn't know that she's AS, how can you start talking to her that don't go and marry a man that is AS? So please, mothers and fathers, let's bring down this marriage counseling or marriage tutoring of our children to the parenting level. It is key. It is much easier when a child grows up with all this kind of knowledge, then is also ready to go into marriage, that then it's easier for the person to say, okay, do this, don't do this, I'm used to it, I'm already taught, it's easier to manage. May Allah make our affairs easy.
Assalamu alaikum. The last person that spoke just now, I'm very sorry. It is the behavior of young men and young girls nowadays. When you go to these malls, or like one day I came out of the airport, me and one girl, she was behind me. But this girl was trying to push me away because she wanted to pass me and come out of the airport. This is the behavior of young people nowadays. They don't notice the old people. They behave like they are within their own cycle. When they see an elderly person, they will try to push you away. Sometimes when you even talk to them, because you are an old woman, they will not listen to you. So they only want to associate with people of their age. But I tell the young people of today, it's very, very graceful of a person to reach an age. You are very lucky when you become old, because it's not everybody that was able to reach that age. So we should value the elderly, them. About the preparation for marriage, I want to mention to the young girls and young boys. The boys, please make sure you are a man before you go into marriage. Make sure you are a man before you go into marriage. A young boy doesn't know what is marriage. So if any girl gets mixed up with such a boy, he's still doing his young lifestyle. He will never listen to you. He will never be responsible because he's not of age. So any young boy that is preparing to get married, let him be responsible and be a man. And any girl that is planning to get married, try to be of age of marriage. Don't go and be fooling around as if you are 10-year-old in a marriage. So that is another problem that we have. And then at the onset of the relationship, parents should be involved. Parents should know what is happening. And then investigations should come next. Because sometimes we don't investigate, we just go into marriages and later realize there is a problem. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you. I appreciate
Everyone coming today. And I appreciate Ustaz especially, and our able coaches and counselors and everybody. Please, I would like to see more of male counselors and coaches. It's like, even last week, most of the coaches that came here were women. So more men coaches, please. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we want to thank everybody that is here today. And inshallah, we hope to see more of you. I think the program is every Saturday. So now that you know the location, so we expect وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب اللهم إنك عفو كريم تحب العفو فاعف عنا اللهم إنك عفو كريم تحب العفو فاعف عنا اللهم إنك عفو كريم تحب العفو فاعف عنا ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار صلى اللهم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك